The webinar will begin shortly. The webinar will begin shortly. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the webinar on Sydney and New South Wales. Thank you so much for taking out your valuable time to attend the webinar. We are now joined by Ms. Pooja Razdan, who is the Business Development Manager in India for Destination New South Wales, which is the State Tourism Board and events agency of the Government of New South Wales. Ms. Razdan will offer insights into the various tourist offerings of Sydney and New South Wales. Ms. Razdan is a marketing professional who's worked in the field of destination marketing for more than 9 years, promoting and working with international tourism boards. For all your queries, Mr. Paramjeet Bawa, who's the Country Manager India for Destination New South Wales, will offer all assistance. Mr. Bawa, a marketing professional who has run the gamut of products and services in a career spanning more than 24 years, finally found his calling in tourism destination marketing. He markets the state and its capital, Sydney, as a preferred destination of choice to the Indian outbound traveler. Just a quick note on logistics. You all are kept on mute mode, and in case if you have any queries, type your questions on the chat option which is at the right hand side of your screen, and Mr. Bawa will be answering all your queries. Also note, the certificate of participation will be awarded to those agents who attend the webinar for more than 30 minutes.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for taking the time to attend our Sydney and New South Wales webinar. Over the next 1 hour or so, I will try and introduce you to new things that you can sell to your clients in Sydney and basically talk a little bit more about New South Wales and help you all to plan your itineraries to Australia better. As mentioned, if you have any questions at any point, just type your questions down in the chat box and my colleague Paramjeet will be happy to answer them as soon as you type them. So before we start as to what we can do in Sydney and region of New South Wales, let's take a look at where we're actually located in Australia. As you can see, we're located on the southeast coast, very strategically between the states of Victoria and Queensland. Thanks to our capital, Sydney, which is one of the most historical and old cities in Australia, and if I might add, one of the most popular cities in Australia. We work as a perfect inroad into the country. We work as a perfect first stop or a last stop, when you're flying out of Australia or when you're making your itinerary. You can choose Sydney to come in, to enter the destination or to fly out as well. Besides that, we also have, our globally iconic structures like the Sydney Opera House and the Sydney Harbour Bridge, which I will talk to you more about in the few slides. Outside of Sydney, there are a lot of regions, namely Blue Mountains, Hunter Valley, Port Stephens, the Central Coast, Wollongong, Southern Highlands that we will touch base upon in the next few slides, and hopefully I will be able to assist you plan your itineraries around New South Wales better. As you can see, these are some images of our, world famous icons, the Sydney Harbour Bridge and the Sydney Opera House. So one of the must-dos while planning your Sydney itinerary, one of the things that you must include while selling Australia in general to your clients is the bridge climb. The Sydney Harbour Bridge is a globally recognized structure, and what better way to get fantastic views of the city than by climbing this bridge. Often what happens is your clients may not have as much time as to 3.5 hours to actually um, 3.5 hours to actually climb the whole bridge, for which you have the option of doing the express climb, which is 2.5 hours. Um, if they are further short on time, you can also do the sampler climb, where you don't actually get right on the top, but in 1.5 hours you do get to a certain spot where you can get fantastic views of the city. However, a personal recommendation would definitely be to at least do the express climb. Once your clients finish climbing the bridge, they will also be awarded with a certificate stating that they have successfully completed the bridge climb. Uh, the climb runs throughout the day. On most occasions, it runs on all weathers, no problem. Even if it's raining, you're provided with raincoats, so it's never an issue. And twilight climbs are also possible. So you can actually get views. Even you can do a night climb and even get night views of the city as well. I think the most popular, icon of Australia is the Sydney Opera House. But a very few percentage of the people that actually, especially the Indians who actually visit the Opera House from the outside, we like to encourage you to actually go inside and do a tour of the Opera House. You can either enjoy a performance, you can take a tour to see what actually happens inside, or you could even ask your clients to enjoy a drink or a dinner right outside the opera house at the opera bar. I think the best way forward for your clients would definitely be to include, in your itineraries to include an opera house tour. The whole tour takes about an hour and a half, and they give you an insight on the history. They give you an insight on what's happening, how they function, and it's actually very interesting. So make sure that you don't only include the opera house as a photo stop from the outside in your Sydney itineraries, and you actually include an opera house tour as well. Because I think it's important, when you are selling Sydney to your clients, and when they're outside such a globally recognized structure, they should at least know what it looks like from the inside. Again, no visit to Sydney would be complete without experiencing our Sydney Harbour. And depending on the preferences of your clients, there are various ways to see our Sydney Harbour. So if you have clients that are interested in soft adventure activities, you could definitely ask them to take a jet boat ride on the Sydney Harbour with superb views of the Opera House and the Sydney Harbour Bridge. And the best part is that all these jet boats are now, there is a GoPro camera installed on all these jet boats. So you actually get, your clients can get photographs, live videos of the whole experience, which actually is really exciting. But for those clients that are not interested in adventure activities, you also have the option of taking a harbor cruise with a lunch, or you can do an evening cruise, a sunset cruise with a cabaret show, which are the Sydney showboats, very popular in India amongst Indians anyway. Indian food is also available on showboat, and vegetarian food is also not an option, is an easily available option. You also have the, your clients also have the opportunity of sailing along Sydney Harbour if they wish to. If you need details of, any of the suppliers that are, that have any of these products, please get in touch with us and we'll be happy to send them across to you. And of course, your DMC would have all these details anyway. To get superb views of the city, another option could be, visiting the observation deck, which is the Sydney Tower Eye. Now, for all those of you who deal in groups and, for all your clients, all of you that sell that deal with a lot of mice groups and big size groups, I just have you know that there is a lovely venue on the Sydney Tower Eye, which not only offers superb views of the city, but can hold large group sizes and organize meals for you. So that could be an option that you can look at for your group if your group size is large enough. Otherwise, if you are, if your clients are FITs, families, small groups, etc., you could see superb views of the city in the evening, in the day, with as easy as just going up an elevator. You also have the opportunity of experiencing a 4D cinema, or even, getting outside of the observation deck, of course, very safely tied on, and doing a skywalk, which is again like a soft adventure activity. And one of my personal favorites would definitely be to see Sydney from up above the air. I mean, I don't think any experience can beat, viewing the city or getting superb views of the city, either from a helicopter or from a seaplane. Again, if your clients earlier, I mean, there's been a new scheme that has been introduced, especially for Indian customers, where seaplanes has offered a 15 to 30-minute flight across the Sydney Harbour. If you need any details on that, I can have them sent to you later. You just drop me an email and just drop your email address in the chat box, and we'll send you those details as well. And this is a bird's eye view of the city. As you can see, this is what your view, or your clients can see from a helicopter, or even from a seaplane. As you can see, it looks really, really beautiful. And just like any other city, we also have the option of a city tour via a hop-on, hop-off bus. The routes are quite they have the blue route and the red route, and there are 34 stops that cover all the main attractions, and they're very easy. The tickets are available quite easily, and if you want, you can purchase them either online or through a DMC and give them to your clients if your clients are interested in sightseeing by themselves. Sydney also has two very famous beaches, the Bondi Beach and Manly Beach. So each time you are actually including, you're creating your itinerary in Sydney, do ensure that you give your clients some time to spend on the beach. Besides swimming, we also offer, there are a lot of things that your clients can do on the beach. They can learn to surf, and they don't have to be, champion swimmers to do that. It's a very basic and fun sort of a short course where they can try and get on the surfboard and experience the whole, on how, learn how to surf. Or they can, even if they're not interested in getting into the water, they can do a coastal walk, which offers superb views of Bondi Beach. They also have the option of enjoying a leisure lunch at a restaurant called Iceberg, or there are a couple of restaurants where they can take a swim, or they can just sit, eat, and get fantastic views of Bondi Beach. Um, so just ensure that you ask them to spend some time on the beach, even if they're not particularly interested in swimming, because there are a lot of activities and a lot of things that they can do on Bondi Beach. And for all of your clients that travel with families, a lot of things to do, especially for families traveling with children. They have the option of visiting the Sydney Aquarium. They can visit Taronga Zoo, where they can, meet animals up and close. And Taronga also offers fantastic views of the Harbour Bridge and the Opera House. They can also come up close and personal with kangaroos, koalas, and other Australian species animals at Wildlife Sydney, again located at the Darling Harbour. or they can enjoy some fun rides at an amusement park called Luna Park. For all those of you that have watched the movie Dil Chahta Hai many years ago, you'd see that Luna Park was actually featured in that movie as well. So it's a really fun place to go, especially if your clients are families with children. So as I mentioned to you earlier, the Sydney Aquarium is located at the Darling Harbour. Its major highlights are that they have a shark enclosure and also a Great Barrier Reef exhibit. So if your clients are not going all the way up to Cairns, this would be a great, sort of a way for them to experience the Great Barrier Reef as well. And the best part about all these locations before I go forward is that most of the attractions are located at Darling Harbour. So just a tip as to when you are actually making the itinerary or choosing the hotel. If it is close to Darling Harbour, it will save you a lot of transfers because all these places are actually located one after the other. So Sydney Aquarium, Wildlife Sydney, Madame Tussauds are all located right next to each other. So you don't actually spend time or effort on organizing any transfers. So if your hotel is also at Darling Harbour, it will make your life pretty easy. As I mentioned earlier, I think no visit of any client of yours would be complete without experiencing, an encounter with a koala or without seeing a kangaroo or other Australian species of animals. And Wildlife Sydney is a great place to do so. Again, located right in the center of Darling Harbour, very easily accessible and a must include in all your Sydney itineraries. Taronga Zoo is one of the biggest zoos in Australia and New South Wales for sure. It's actually located on an island, and you can actually do very interesting transfers to Taronga. So of course you can use road to get there, but if you want to try something different for your clients, you can also offer a jet boat transfer or a water taxi and get them to the zoo from the Opera House or wherever. And there's also a night safari at Taronga Zoo, post which they offer a roar and snore program. This program mainly includes staying overnight in the zoo. As you can see on the image at the bottom of your screen, there are these semi-luxury tent accommodation available. So your clients can come into Taronga towards the evening, do the night safari, stay back in these tents, wake up in the morning, eat breakfast at the zoo, and then continue their city tour or go back to Sydney and continue with their itinerary. Taronga Zoo also offers an Aboriginal wildlife walk where they teach you about Aboriginal culture, their people, and you learn a lot about nature as well. Luna Park, as I mentioned, is an amusement park with a great location right on the other side of the Darling Harbour. As I told you, the movie Dil Chahta Hai was a part of it was also shot in Luna Park. The entrance for the park is free, but I think for some of the roller coasters, you need to pay a small fee. And if your clients are interested in art and museums, we also have. So Sydney is a city which offers a mix of everything, from nightlife to shopping to attractions to museums. We have a beautiful art gallery of New South Wales, and also the Australian Maritime Museum, which again has a perfect location on Darling Harbour. And also at the Australian Maritime Museum, you get the opportunity of actually getting into a submarine, which is really exciting not only for children but also for adults. And I'm sure you all agree with me when I say that no trip to Sydney, or for that matter, anywhere in the world, is complete without shopping. I'm sure all of you need to include shopping time, shopping options for your clients. And of course, Sydney being a world-class city has all sort of shopping options available, be it your high-end malls, be it your flea markets, be it your direct factory outlets. We have it all. Just one important thing to remember, most malls and shops in Sydney close pretty early, around 5 to 6 p.m. So whenever you're planning your Sydney itinerary for your clients, ensure that you give them shopping time prior to that and not after, because otherwise they will be disappointed. However, on Thursdays, malls shops are open until little later, which is around 8 to 9 p.m. So plan your itineraries accordingly. If you need assistance from us in terms of names of shopping malls, areas, locations, etc., again, please drop us an email, drop us your email address in the chat box, and we'll have all the information sent to you. Sydney is also very high up there on nightlife. So if your clients are interested in pubbing, we have a lot of pubs. We have Sydney Showboat that we covered. We also have the Star Casino, which is an establishment of its own with a lot of malls, with a lot of shopping, with a lot of restaurants, with a huge casino. So if that's what your clients are interested in, do give them some time to spend at the Star as well. It's a whole establishment in itself. Besides that, if you need names of nightclubs, lounges in particular areas, again, you can get in touch with us and we can provide the same to you. A very interesting and different way to introduce Sydney to your clients could actually be on a Harley Davidson. As you can see, that is my colleague Paramjeet having a great time on the Harley. And this is something that you can offer as well to your clients. So what happens is the rider who actually also works as a tour guide takes you on a city tour and stops at, he's constantly telling you things to, what's happening. He also works as a guide, and he also offers a lot of photo stops on the way. So it's a very different and a very fun way to see the city. As we mentioned earlier, the Darling Harbour area in Sydney is the most, is where you get a lot of harborside entertainment. So if you want to avoid, if your clients like to live sort of, where all the action is, then do find a hotel which is close to the Darling Harbour. Now, this is a very niche product. It may not be applicable to all your clients. However, we do have the second largest fish market in the world. And for those of your clients who might be interested in something like this, they can wake up early in the morning and go and actually see the fish getting auctioned very early in the morning, and maybe try on some oysters and get hands-on experience from some of the leading Australian chefs as well. So as I mentioned earlier, it may not be applicable to all your clients, but yes, there might be some that might be interested in something like this. And of course, when it comes to cricket, I think our whole country unites, and Sydney Cricket Ground is a legendary venue as far as even Indians are concerned. So do include a tour of the Sydney Cricket Ground in all your Australian itineraries, because not only is it iconic, but it is of great interest to most Indians. And if there is no match going on, or a local match going on, your clients also get the option of actually sort of playing in the nets, coming on the ground, clicking pictures, doing behind the scenes tour, getting up close and personal into the locker rooms of the cricketers, and it's very, very exciting. As mentioned, the Sydney Cricket Ground is open from Monday to Friday, on these timings and on Saturdays from 10 a.m. For all of you that have honeymoon plans, again, we can offer a lot of experiences for honeymooners. You can hire a private yacht, or you can organize a romantic dinner with a spectacular harbor view for a backdrop. There are a lot of things that you can do for honeymooners, and we'll be happy to help you plan your itinerary in detail. Again, just leave your email address with us in the chat box, and we will get back to you with some sample itineraries that you could share with your potential honeymoon clients. And for all those of you that deal with luxury, that deal with high profile clients that are interested in doing something different uh, in the luxury space, you can hire. There are a lot of options available. For example, you can hire your personal styling service. You can hire a shopper who will accompany you for shopping. You can do self-drive Porsche tours. Now, this is a really interesting product where you're taken away from all the traffic towards the highway, and you can drive fantastic cars. You can do these Porsche self-drive half-day, full-day tours. um, the best part is that if your clients are looking to self-drive in Sydney, they don't actually require an international license as long as they have a valid Indian license, which is in English. There's no problem. They're free to drive in the city. As far as accommodation and venues go, this is a small update. Of course, we have the Sydney Intercontinental Double Bay that opened a couple of years ago, and it's a really popular hotel with a great location, just 5 kilometers from the CBD. Um, and we also have the Novotel at Darling Harbour, which is now complete and reopened as well after refurbishment. The Tripas Wide Group, as I mentioned, also have that space in the Sydney observation deck, in the Sydney Tower that I was talking about. So if you have MICE groups or your clients are any corporates, etc., that are looking to do big groups, this accommodation venue holds up to 200 people. Taking a look at some of the most popular properties in Sydney, the Darling, which is our five-star boutique hotel. The Darling is a part of the star establishment that we spoke about a couple of slides ago. It's a five-star hotel with amazing luxurious features and is located on the Darling Harbour. Again, one of the most iconic hotels in Sydney, the Park Hyatt, mainly because of its location. It's located, most of its rooms have superb views of the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge. So particularly if you have your clients that are visiting Sydney during New Year's Eve for the fireworks, I think this could be an ideal hotel for them. But of course, you need to book pretty early because it gets full. Coming to Vivid Sydney, Vivid Sydney is actually one of our most popular festivals that Destination New South Wales organizes each year. This year, it was as long as 23 nights. It is one of the biggest sound and light festivals of its kind. And how it works is every year from mid-May to mid-June, our entire CBD, the entire CBD in Sydney is lit up with various light and sound installations, whether it is the Sydney Opera House, the Harbour Bridge, Taronga Zoo. All of the CBD is lit up and is a beautiful, beautiful time for you to sell Sydney to your clients. Often what happens is due to due to it being a globally peak time to travel to Australia in the months of in the months of December to February. Often, you find that availability rooms are full, etc., etc. That is why this is the best time for you to promote um, Sydney in the months of May. Not only do they get to, not only will your clients get the time to experience Vivid, but it's also not such a busy time. So you get good airfares, you get good hotel rooms, and it's actually good weather as well. So it's never too cold in Sydney. So it's the perfect time for you to sell and promote Vivid. Again, any information or any details that you would require on Vivid, please, feel free to get in touch with us, and we're happy to help you. This year, Vivid was held for about 23 nights, and again, as I mentioned, it is one of the biggest festivals of its kind. We'll try and show you a video on Vivid at the end of this presentation. So, moving a little bit out of Sydney, I'd just like to talk a little bit about five main regions in New South Wales. A lot of you have been promoting day trips to Blue Mountains, Hunter Valley, Port Stephens. Just want to run through, what you can do in these different places, how you can plan your self-drive itineraries, and assist you in the future with any other information that you may require. I think one of the most popular regions in New South Wales, outside of Sydney, are the Blue Mountains, just 2 hours away from Sydney, and of course very famous for its Three Sisters. It is a World Heritage listed site in 2000, and the best way to see the Three Sisters is at Scenic World through 4 different experiences. So with one pass, you actually get 4 different experiences, and you can view the Three Sisters in 4 different ways. The most exciting of them being the railway. This train is fully glass, so it's a glass bottom train, it's glass top, and each seat actually has a lever. It is one of the steepest trains in the world. So when you actually go down your seat, you can move the lever to adjust your seat to get superb views of the Three Sisters. Besides which, of course, you have the walkway, the cableway, and the skyway as well, all in one pass. Your DMC can provide this to you, and it's a must do. I mean, if you're sending your clients to Blue Mountains, it is a must do. A lot of you have also been selling Genolan caves, which are the world's oldest open caves. For those who haven't been selling it yet, I recommend not to sell it as a day trip. It becomes too tiring. A lot of you have been doing Blue Mountains, Genolan caves, and back to Sydney. I'd highly recommend you include one night in Blue Mountains and then go forward to Genolan Caves the next day, do an adventure tour of the caves. It is a short 45-minute to 1 hour tour. And then you can have your clients post-lunch come back to Sydney or Blue Mountains, whatever their next location is. Also have you know that Indian food with vegetarian options are available at Genolan Caves even if you have groups. It's not an issue at all. Besides which, this is the Katoomba village in Blue Mountains where you can give some free time to your clients to just enjoy the village in itself, whether it's shopping, eating in a cafe, or just walking around. It is important to note that in terms of accommodation, whether it is the regions in New South Wales or in Sydney, accommodation is available for your clients of any budget. So if they are looking at staying in youth hostels, B&Bs, 5 stars, 3 stars, apartments, farm stays, it's all available. In fact, we have some accommodation. If you're interested in knowing more about accommodation, you can log into our website, which we will give you at the end of the presentation. It has an accommodation search engine as per your client's budget, and it can list out lots of options for you. So these are some of the accommodation options available at the Blue Mountains. Of course, we also have the one and only Vulcan Valley Resort and Spa, which is one of the luxury lodges of Australia for your high-end clients who are looking for a completely different experience. The Hydro Majestic Hotel is one of the newest hotels in the Blue Mountains, and as you can see by the sheer size of it, rooms are generally available. So if you are planning to sell the Blue Mountains General and Caves, all these experiences, I would definitely recommend that you include one night in the Blue Mountains. The Hydro also has a lovely lookout point from where you get superb views of the Three Sisters as well. Central Coast is a region which is just 1 hour away from Sydney, and it is absolutely a beautiful coastal town with lovely beaches and a lot of options for people who love adventure, whether it is treetop adventures, quad biking, horse riding, kayaking, or if you just want to roam. It also works as a perfect stop if your clients are driving from Sydney all the way to Blue Mount to Port Stephens. It works as a perfect midway stop as well. There is an attraction at Central Coast which is called as the Glenworth Valley Adventures, where you could take a stop for lunch and also experience some of these adventure activities. As I mentioned, you can offer your clients can go horse riding, they can go quad biking, kayaking, lots of options available. Glenwood Valley also works really well for groups. If you want to organize any MICE activities, if you want to organize any group lunches, etc., all for big groups, all possible at Glenwood. And this is Central Coast's most popular tourist attraction, daily pelican feeding. Your clients have the option of feeding these pelicans at 3:30 p.m. And of course, it's free of charge. It's very exciting and it's lots of fun. Another must do at the Central Coast is a visit to Australia's Reptile Park. This is actually an award-winning zoo where your clients have the opportunity of interacting and taking pictures with pythons, koalas, feeding kangaroos. It's actually literally like an adventure playground. So especially for families that are traveling with children, it's really, really exciting because children can come up close and personal with these Australian species animals. There's also an option of taking a guided bushwalking tour and learning a lot about, Australian wildlife and Aboriginal culture. Some of the accommodation options available at Central Coast. As I mentioned to you, we also have a lot more other options suiting all budgets available on our website. And you can always get in touch with us for more recommendations as per your client's budget, and we can help you plan your itinerary as well. Hunter Valley again is a 2 hour drive north of Sydney and is definitely is Australia's oldest wine producing region. They have about over 120 wineries and cellars, and it's a fantastic location, especially for honeymooners. So if you are offering 3 nights to your clients, honeymoon clients in Sydney, do include a night or two in Hunter Valley, and it works as a perfect combination between a city and a region. Some of the must-dos while your clients are in Hunter Valley would be a visit to the Hunter Valley Gardens. They are so huge that you actually need to take a train, as you can see on the right-hand side bottom of the slide. You actually a train takes you through the whole garden, and the gardens are actually divided into various landscapes. So if you see, there's actually an Indian mosaic garden as well in the Hunter Valley Gardens. There's something for children. There's a Chinese garden. It's all it's a lot of fun. And again, your clients can spend some time shopping in Hunter Valley Village. You can buy chocolates, local produce, cheese, wines, and spend some time in the village. Another must-do for your clients while in Hunter Valley would definitely be a visit to a winery where they can learn, there are so many wineries to choose from, about over 120 wineries, where they can learn about wines, see how wine is made, or even simply just stop for lunch at either one of the wine cellars or even in the middle of a winery. A very beautiful and scenic way to see the whole Hunter Valley region would be via hot air balloon. This is just an indicative price on the slide. However, your DMCs will be able to provide you with better costing. Um, the whole experience takes about 3 to 4 hours, and your clients will have to wake up early in the morning, post which the whole tour includes breakfast and a hands-on experience on how to set up for the flight and pack up after. It's very interesting, not only for honeymooners, but even for families and all of your clients. It's a beautiful region, and a hot air balloon ride would be the best way to see it. Some of the other experiences that could be must-dos in Hunter Valley are: you could do a horse carriage ride, you could learn cooking at a cooking school, you could offer horse riding, golfing. A lot of the accommodation includes golf courses as well. So if your clients are interested in golfing, definitely include a hotel for them that actually has a golf course. These are some of the accommodation options. Again, I have to repeat myself, but there are many more available, and we are happy to help you with more options if required. A luxury five-star property at Hunter Valley is the Tower Lodge. They have two beautiful restaurants. One is actually located in a cellar, and one is actually in the middle of a wine garden. So if you have high-profile clients that are interested in a real sort of nice meal experience, do include a lunch at the Roberts restaurant amongst the estates, or at Restaurant 9, which is located in a cellar below the Tower Lodge. Port Stephens is, I think, now one of the most popular, upcoming and popular destinations in regional New South Wales amongst Indians. It is known as the dolphin capital of Australia, as it is home to more than 160 dolphins. It's about 2.5 hours away from Sydney and can be best covered by self-drive. But if your clients are not interested in self-drive, you can even reach Port Stephens by coach. Um, it is a beautiful, beautiful location, as you can see from the images. And some of the must-dos in Port Stephens definitely would include a cruise, a dolphin watching cruise. And if your clients are traveling between May and November, they also have the opportunity of spotting some whales. Um, This dolphin watching cruise also has some of the best Indian food on board. So if your clients want Indian food or vegetarian options, they actually have an Indian chef on board. So they will definitely not be disappointed. Besides, spotting a lot of dolphins and whales as well. Um, these cruises offer a boom netting experience. As you can see on the right of your screen, there is a net sort of thing with a lot of people sitting on it. So how it works is when the cruise is taken is they sort of anchor in the middle of the ocean, and this net is sort of let down on the level of the sea, and your clients have the options of sitting on this net and have dolphins or come all around them up like really really close to them. It works really well because it's really exciting, and it's great fun to come up close and personal with the dolphins. After the dolphin watching cruise, you can also include a sand dune tour in your itinerary. Quad biking is an exciting way to see these sand dunes. It's almost how it will almost work like your own personal experience, because not only do you get superb views of the coast while you are on the sand dunes, but it's a very personal, safe, and a lovely, lovely experience. The whole tour takes about 2 hours. Of course, you can shorten it to about an hour, hour and a half as well. And I'm sure that your clients will not be disappointed after this tour. They can also enjoy other water sports like parasailing, across Port Stephens as well. Or they can come up close and personal with sharks and stingrays at the Australian Shark and Ray Center. They can hand feed baby sharks, as you can see on the image on the right hand side of your screen. It's very exciting. You get into, your clients can get into the water with stingrays swimming all around them. And if they, if it's like a soft adventure activity, and it's very very exciting. Even if there are children, it's actually good fun. So these are some of the must do's while your clients are in Port Stephens. It's the dolphin watching cruise, the quad biking, and basically the sand dune adventures. And you can also include an experience at the Australian Shark and Stingray Center. Again, some apartment options at Port Stephens. Byron Bay is a location, is a region that is so north of Sydney that you actually have to take a flight. It's in 1 hour flight from Sydney to Byron Bay. However, if your clients are in Gold Coast, it's actually just less of an hour drive from Gold Coast to Byron Bay. So there are two ways that you can sell Byron Bay to actually three ways you can sell Byron Bay to your clients. One would be that they take a flight from Sydney straight up to Byron Bay. Second would be they drive from Gold Coast to Byron Bay. As I told you, it's about a 50-minute to 1 hour drive. Or the third option could be they do a self-drive over many days over from Sydney right up to Byron Bay. And again, if you feel that, you have some clients that would be interested in something like that, we would be happy to help you plan this whole itinerary from Sydney right up to Byron Bay as well. So Byron Bay is very famous for its adventure activities, besides which they have a very hip and happening nightlife as well. They have a lot of products that suit children. You can visit Tropical Fruit World, where you can go and see various fruits, see how they're grown. Works really well for families with children. They can visit the Crystal Castle, which is again which has a lot of inspiration from India. So your clients will be able to relate to the place pretty well. And talking about adventure activities, skydiving is one of the most popular activities in Byron Bay. So if your clients are looking to do something, to jump off a plane or looking to do something exciting, um, they can go skydiving, and of course, Cape Byron kayaks. They can go kayaking in the ocean with dolphins, which is again a very exciting experience. You don't really need swimming experience to get in there, so make sure you include, this experience, this kayaking experience with dolphins, and trust me, your clients will not be disappointed. Some of the accommodation options at Byron Bay. We also have a new property that has opened up in Byron Bay called the Elements, which is a five-star property, which is beautiful, beautiful beachside villas. And it's a beautiful location with their own private beach. And on that private beach, you can also offer your clients the experience of getting a surfing lesson or just spending time. We can, send across details of the property if you require. The Byron at Byron Bay is also another luxury five-star property that is located in Byron Bay. It's a beautiful property located almost, it looks like a rainforest. It's like a rejuvenating spa kind of place. So if that's, it can be, if your clients are interested in something like this, the people at Byron Bay would be happy to work out something specially for the Indian clients. So they offer luxury accommodation that comprises of 92 air-conditioned suites. So these were most of the regions that we discussed. They were towards the north of Sydney. Coming towards the south, 1 hour from Sydney CBD is a place called Wollongong, which offers superb and a beautiful coastline and a fantastic place to actually skydive as well. So you can skydive on the beach in Wollongong, and you get a free pickup from Sydney CBD, and they can take your clients right up to Wollongong, skydive, and come back. But however, I recommend that that we recommend to your clients on spending more time in the region, because there are a lot of other things to do in Wollongong besides skydiving as well. Earlier in the presentation, we covered taking a Harley Davidson ride in Sydney CBD. However, this could also be another option where you offer a Harley Davidson ride to your clients in Wollongong along the beautiful Grand Pacific Drive, as you can see in the images. Your clients will be driven along this beautiful route with these superb views, and it's a different experience altogether to be on this bike with these bikers who also work as tour guides. They offer you photo stops, and they give you more information about the region as you ride along. And the best part about Wollongong is that it is located only 90 minutes from Sydney, south of Sydney. As I mentioned, you could skydive on the beach, or if your clients are interested in hang gliding, paragliding, or other adventure activities, they're all available in Wollongong. Another must-do while in the region would definitely be a visit to the largest microbrewery in Australia. You could do a brewery tour and see how 10 different kinds of in-house beer are actually made in this brewery. The Illawarra Fly Tree Top Walk, also located in Wollongong, has actually recently won an award as well for being one of Australia's best rainforest experience. As you can see from the image, there is a walk which is about 500 meters, which passes through the whole rainforest, and it's suitable for people of all ages, whether they are children, senior citizens, um, and all fitness levels, and it gives you superb and fantastic views of the whole rainforest. Another must-do while at Wollongong would definitely be a visit to the region called Jervis Bay. Jervis Bay is located further down 1 hour south of Wollongong and has one of the most whitest beaches in the world. It's called as Hyams Beach, which recently actually won an award for the whitest beach in Australia. In fact, the sand there is so clean that it actually squeaks. So it's almost like a virgin beach with hardly any people, where your clients can take a dolphin watching cruise and again spot whales if they are traveling between May and November. So it's a beautiful and fantastic region, and it's very close to Sydney as well. Just 2 hours south of Sydney and 1 hour south of Wollongong. As we discussed, how cricket is a religion in India, Sir Donald Bradman was born in a place called Bowral, which is located very, very close to Sydney in the Southern Highlands. It's actually it's the birthplace of Sir Donald Bradman, where now an international cricket hall of museum is dedicated in his name. Besides that, you get to see a lot of Indian cricketers, a lot of information about them as well. So it's a perfect. Bowral is a small town, and it's a beautiful place for your clients to actually come, especially those of your clients that are interested in cricket, to come and visit. Um, there's so much that they can do. They can visit the 5 main exhibition galleries. There is so much of Sachin Tendulkar reference because he was so close to Sir Donald Bradman, and there's a lot that for all those, and it's not it's a very interactive museum. So I'm sure your clients of all ages and types would enjoy this experience. Some of the accommodation options available in Wollongong on your screen. Where to stay in the South Coast. Paperback camp is again a very different sort of accommodation option. You will see it on the right hand side bottom of your screen. It is a luxury tent accommodation. So if your clients are looking at doing something different, this is something that you can offer to them. It's a luxury accommodation, but in the whole tent form. So this is some place where they can stay at if they are looking at doing something different. As we discussed, the Shoalhaven region, where Jervis Bay is located, is just 2 hours drive from Sydney. So not only can it work as a perfect option for self-drive itineraries, but your clients can always visit via other means as well and stay over for 1-2 nights and then come back to Sydney. It also works as a perfect stop, one of the perfect stops for those who are doing the whole self-drive over many days from Sydney right up to Melbourne. So this is the paperback camp in Jervis Bay that we were talking about. As I told you, it's located just 2.5 hours away from Sydney towards the south in Jervis Bay, and it offers 12 canvas-style safari tents. So if your clients are looking at soft adventure or looking to do something different, I'd really recommend offering this option to them. This is another accommodation option, a luxury boutique hotel owned by one of the famous British chefs called Rick Stein, uh, again in the Shoalhaven region. So the New South Wales self-drives are one of the most amazing and stunning, landscape-wise self-drives in Australia, whether it is, whether your clients are planning to do the legendary Pacific Coast Drive all the way from Sydney right up to Byron Bay and then further to Gold Coast or Brisbane, or down south from Sydney to Melbourne over the Grand Pacific Drive, or just even up to, say, Blue Mountains or Port Stephens. I think self-drive will give them a great experience of what the whole region is all about. Besides, the active life and the attractions and shopping in Sydney, it is important for you to push them to go forward into the regions to spend some time there and get a totally different experience from what they will get in Sydney, making it a perfect combination of a city and then visiting a region. To make it easy for your understanding, we have divided this slide into, a north coast triangle and a south coast triangle, so that your experiences or, the timing doesn't, or your planning doesn't falter. We can also send you this slide for your later reference. It will give you a clear insight on the regions that you can include if you are doing, if you are offering a self-drive to the north of Sydney, or if you are offering a self-drive to the south of Sydney. Although in this triangle we have included Blue Mountains in the south coast, due to its distance from Sydney, it can be actually included, in a south coast itinerary or even in a north coast itinerary. Now, for all those of your clients who are not looking at self-driving, if you look in the north triangle, you see a place called Newcastle. Newcastle has an airport which offers, and you can actually fly, your clients can actually fly from Sydney to Newcastle at really reasonable prices. What happens is if they are not looking at, self-driving and yet want to experience that whole region, we suggest that they fly from Sydney to Newcastle. That opens up the whole Hunter Valley, Port Stephens region for them, where they can spend a night or two and then take their flight from Newcastle to their next destination, be it in Queensland or coming back to Sydney. As I mentioned, these are a few details about Newcastle Port Stephens Airport. On good days, fares are as low as rupees 2,000 from Sydney to Newcastle. So it really doesn't, it's really cheap, and you offer a whole new experience to your clients. These are some itinerary options, again, which we can send to you once this presentation has ended. As you will see, that the driving distance between two regions is not more than 2 hours to 2.5 hours. So it's not going to be tiring. It's actually very enjoyable. And if they want to experience wines, they want to experience a region, dolphin watching, pelican feeding, this works as a perfect North Coast itinerary. We're happy to send this out to you. If you leave your email address for us in the chat box, we'll have this sent to you later for your ready reference. And this is the South Coast itinerary. What to do, where to stay, etc. we discussed in the presentation. Again, as you see, the driving distances are hardly, the maximum driving distance is 2.5 hours. So this can be very well covered in 1 night, 2 nights, as your clients will prefer. Further to this, these are our contact details. Paramjeet and myself work out of the Bombay office. However, if you have any queries, no matter, wherever you're located, please drop us an email or leave your details in the chat option or your questions in the chat option, and we're happy to get back to you. These are our websites. Please access them for latest information on our events, on itinerary planning, on accommodation options. If you need any assistance from my side in terms of, names of restaurants in Sydney, names of Indian restaurants, shopping, itinerary planning, self-drive routes, DMC details, etc., more details on Vivid, etc., etc., please feel free to get in touch with me and I'll be happy to help you. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope that I have been able to give you some more information and help you, plan your Sydney and New South Wales itineraries better. Thank you so much, and I really look forward to hearing from you soon.
That ends an insightful presentation from Ms. Pooja Razdan on Sydney and New South Wales. I'm sure you have all gained valuable insights from the webinar. A big thank you to all of you and to the team at Destination New South Wales. We appreciate the fact that you've taken time off from your busy schedules. I am sure the webinar has been informative and it will help you in enhancing your business interests. For the next few minutes, Mr. Paramjeet Bawa will continue to answer your queries on the chat option.